So hi everyone, we're continuing new series of workshops with Oracle expert for women-led businesses and women entrepreneurs in Karakalpakstan and Uzbekistan. And we're happy to have Tania Le Voi with us, technology strategy leader at Oracle. Absolutely happy that this is a third workshop with Tania, if I'm not mistaken, just correct me, in the last year or two. So thank you, Tania, for sharing with us such an interesting topic of creative writing and sustainability, and where all our businesses are linked to sustainability. So looking forward to the workshop. Barno will be helping with translation to Uzbek as usual, and I will say something in Russian, and we will start. Thank you. Спасибо большое всем, кто подключился. У нас продолжается серия семинаров с Oracle, с международными экспертами Oracle. Сегодня Таня Le Voi из компании Oracle расскажет про креативность и устойчивое развитие, как мы можем с помощью креативности решить социальные, экологические проблемы и помочь нашему бизнесу. Барно будет помогать с переводом, у нас будет перевод на узбекский язык. Барно, вам слово. Спасибо.
Assalomu alaykum hammaga. Bugun sizlar bilan Oracle mutaxassislari yordamida ijodkorlik va barqarorlik bo'yicha tadbirkorlikni yuritish mavzusida gaplashamiz. Bugungi mehmonimiz Oracle mutaxassisi Tania Le Voi bo'ladi. Ular bilan deyarli adashmasak bu 3-chi seminarimiz bo'ladi, trening. Xush kelibsizlar hammanglar.
Tania, over to you and thank you.
Super. Hopefully you can see my my slides there. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for inviting me today. It's lovely to meet you all. My name is Tania Le Voi. I am a senior director with Oracle. So a little bit of background about myself. I've been in IT for over 25 years, and predominantly it's been in the area of product management. And it's an amazing career area to be in because it covers so many aspects of business all the way from ideation, so bringing up ideas, all the way through to launching those products or services as well. So today it's one of my favorite topics actually, so I'm really pleased to come along, and I'm going to talk to you about creative thinking. So thinking creatively about the future requires sensitivity to the complex, fast-moving world which is in front of us. It's the ability to anticipate unexpected disruptions, and also a willingness to constantly re-evaluate your most basic beliefs and assumptions. And I'm going to touch on those things all of the way through this. Please let me know when you want me to pause so you can translate as well, ladies. Okay.
Thank you. Assalomu alaykum hammaga. Bugungi o'zim haqimda biroz gapirib beradigan bo'lsam, Oracle kompaniyasida uzoq yillar mobaynida mahsulotlarni boshqarish bo'limida boshqaruvchi menejer direktor lavozimida ishlab kelyapman va bugungi mavzumizda sizlar bilan asosan o'sha mahsulot yaratishda, xizmatlar yaratishda boshqacha ijodiy fikrlash mavzusida gaplashamiz. Ijodiy fikrlashda ahamiyati juda ham katta, chunki bu boshqacharoq tomondan qarashga, mahsulotga, xizmatga yo'l ochib beradi va biz hammaga ayon bo'lgan qonunlardan tashqariga chiqqan holda mahsulotimizni qayta ko'rib, uni boshqacharoq qilib yaratishga erishamiz bu orqali.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on quickly. So I think creative thinking also goes hand in hand with courageous thinking. And this is about creating an environment, an ambience for if you have a team, or in fact, if you're on your own. Now, something I find that a lot of people do or don't do is actually setting time aside each day to do exactly that. Think. We're all so busy caught up in doing, we don't put time aside just to think about what is going on around us and what we need to think about for the future. And you also need to remember that actually creative thinking, it's not a one-off task. It's an ever-evolving process.
bilan ijodiy fikrlash haqida gapiradigan bo'lsak, uni qonuniyatlari bilan tanishib o'tamiz va birinchi asosiy qonuniyati bu dadil fikrlash ekan va eshitish ekan. Biz har kuni hayotimizni boshlaganimizda o'zimizga bir kunlik qiladigan ishimizni o'ylaymiz, lekin biz vaqtimizni ajratayotganimizda kelajakda nimalar bo'lishi mumkinligini va ular bo'lishi mumkin bo'lgan voqealarga qanday qilib bugundan boshlab yondashishimiz mumkinligi haqida unchalik ko'p o'ylamaymiz.
So this one, I'm going to ask you to do a quick warm-up here. So this isn't too complex, I hope. So what is this object? What could we use it for? Have you got any ideas? And if anyone wants to shout out any ideas, please do so. I'll pop them into the chat.
Ushbu rasmga qarab turib o'zingizlar fikringizni bildiringlar. Bu nima mahsulot va nima uchun ishlatiladi? Nima uchun kerak bu mahsulot bizga?
Используется для работы в доме, для безопасности рук, для мойки полов и так далее.
We use it for our housework to keep our hands safe for cleaning and other stuff like this.
Absolutely. So it's the same. It's a yellow rubber glove, right, everyone? And we use it for washing up. Some people use it for gardening, cleaning, protecting your hands, all that kind of stuff. So just think about that rubber glove. What if it could be used as a plant pot? Or in fact, the picture to the right-hand side, jewelry and a necklace. So
Это креативное мышление, да.
So remember, ladies, that some of the most creative ideas come from doing the opposite of what is expected. Okay. So I'm going to show you next. I'm going to as sustainability, I'm going to show you some creative thinking examples around the important message of sustainability, which is very close to my heart, to your heart, and actually to everybody at Oracle as well. Now, we've recently been working, I know this is big and I know it's American, we've been recently working there with a Mexican food chain called Chipotle, is how you pronounce it. But we have branded this in a very unique way to catch the attention of many, many viewers. Now, can a burrito, okay, food that you eat, can it change the world? Now, we've done something very creative around this. It is a video and it's in English, so hopefully you'll be able to keep up, but I will send all the links after this so you can, you can re-watch them. So just think about this. Can a burrito change the world? We had over 1 million views per week on this. So let's see. And hopefully this will play, but please shout out if something doesn't go right with the video or you can't hear it, okay?
This could change the world. A burrito. Yeah, it can. It could. You are so weird. It could. It could change how we plant things and grow things, and improve the dirt where we grow those things. It could save water by changing how we use it. It could make us more responsible and sustainable. It could change how we pick things, move things, and transportation things. What? That's not a thing. Whatever. It can make our farmers happier, and they can make our animals happier. Can trees be happier? Probably. We could do things more locally, so everyone's happier. More organic, more real, soil healthy, future facing, less carbon emitting, and world changing. Hey, are you still talking?
So,
That's great.
how did you feel after that video? So this video actually, it created an emotional connection with Chipotle's customers, and it had a huge positive reaction. So again, that's just a creative way to think about how you are marketing or branding your products. So I hope you enjoyed that video as much as we really enjoy it at Oracle. Okay, so I'm going to...
Can I translate?
Absolutely, yes, sorry, yeah.
Demak, shunda aytib o'tganimizdek, biz ijodiy fikrlash bu biz o'rgangan narsalarni teskari qilib ko'rishdan iborat ekan, ya'ni munosabatni o'zgartirishdan. Ushbu video tomonidan qilgan bo'lib, bu yerda oddiy bir Meksikan burrito ovqatiga boshqacha munosabat bildirilyapti. Ya'ni biz o'sha ovqatdagi mahsulotlarni, uni ichidagi pomidori, boshqa va dukkakli mahsulotlar, shularni qanday qilib yetishtirishimizdan boshlab turib, biz barqarorlikka olib kelishimiz mumkin ekan. Qanchalik hayotga o'zgartirish olib kelishi mumkinligi video tayyorlashibdi.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to something else which is exceptionally important, and it's plastic. World plastic waste will exceed 12 billion tons by 2050. Now, it has been said that the parents of innovation are necessity and opportunity. Now, our planet faces incredible challenges that's going to influence generations to come, and there is a necessity for intervention and change in almost every sector. Now, in order to tackle these challenges or opportunities, creativity can be used as a tool for transformation. So here's a thought. What if there was no virgin plastic, meaning brand new fresh plastic, and recycled was the only choice? Now, a new generation of sustainably minded designers, so us really, is pioneering the ways of using this recycled plastic as raw material. Virgin plastic for years has been used to produce everything from food packaging to furniture. But we know as the environmental impact becomes more apparent, a lot of new designers are thinking and exploring and are being creative to think about alternative uses. So the abundance of plastic actually creates an opportunity for young designers to start thinking. Now, a well-known number of designers and brands have been promoting the vast potential of recycled ocean plastic. And you may have heard of a huge company, obviously Adidas, but Adidas is among a number of brands that have been promoting the use of plastic in design.
sifatida qolib ketar ekan va butun okeanni ekologiyasiga, muhitiga ta'sir qilar ekan. Hozirgi kunda yangi startaplar, korxonalar ushbu chiqindi mahsulotlarini qayta ishlagan holda mahsulotlarni yaratishga harakat qilishyapti ekan. Ya'ni bu barqarorlikka olib keladigan faoliyatni asoslangan holda xomashyolarni qayta ishlashga asoslangan faoliyatga intilishyapti ekan. Masalan, bulardan biri Adidas ishlab chiqaruvchi, sport kiyimlar ishlab chiqaruvchi korxonasi misol qilib keltirilyapti bu yerda.
So Oceanworks is an Oracle customer and a global marketplace for recycled ocean plastic materials and products. So what it does, it connects the global demand for the sustainable materials with supply. So it supports what is called the circular economy by intercepting the plastic waste before it actually enters the marine environments. Its goal is to reduce this use of virgin materials and eliminate the demand for new plastic. So ocean plastic, that was an example of plastic, and I'm talking about ocean plastic, but it isn't the only resource available. And other designers are trying to encourage people to recycle the waste that they have at home. And one example of this is actually a Netherlands-based designer called Dave Hackens. Now, for his graduation project, he built his own plastic recycling machine. He then made those plans available online and invited others to also construct and build their own machines, their own recycling machines. And he shared the results via his website. Now, 4 years later, this precious plastic machine has actually been adopted by over 200 designers worldwide. So the global community has now created a wide range of products using these recycling plastic machines in their homes and created jewelry and textiles and homeware, and they sell them online through online retailers. So with that, just have a think about that. Take a moment to reflect on how you and your business could tackle even more challenges around you if you were given or had the right tools to be able to invent the solutions.
Startup loyiha haqida gapirildi. Bundan oldingi ushbu startup loyiha hamkorlikda asosan chiqindiga chiqqan mahsulotlarni qayta ishlashga qaratilgan ekan. Ushbu slaydda esa talaba o'zini bitiruvchi loyihasiga tayyorlagan, ya'ni plastik chiqindilarni uy sharoitida qayta ishlab, uni qandaydir boshqa mahsulotga aylantiradigan loyihani taqdim etgan ekan va buni onlayn saytda, veb-saytda e'lon qilgan ekan va bu saytda boshqa odamlar ham o'zlarini xuddi shunday uy sharoitida qayta ishlash mumkin bo'lgan uskunalarini namoyish qilishgan ekan. Bunday qilish orqali juda ham yaxshi loyihalar dunyoga kelgan ekan.
Okay. So now I'm going to take you a little bit into technology. Okay, we are a technology company at Oracle. So I wanted to touch on agriculture. Now, farmers are losing 20 to 40% of their crops to pests and diseases. And we all know that a rising population means that there's going to be over 2 billion more people who will need to be fed in the coming decades. So meantime, farmers have been looking to use fewer pesticides due to the regulations and the cost, and of course, due to their environmental concerns. Now, AgriScout is actually on the Oracle Startup Program, and they've been using technology and finding ways to enable more sustainable agriculture by using artificial intelligence to analyze zone-captured images of farm fields through drones. And what this does is enables them to apply the pesticides only where they are needed, rather than what they usually do, which is like a blanket application method across all of their fields and crops. So by knowing which pests and diseases that they need to treat, the growers can save more money, they can improve their yields, and of course, they can feed more people, preventing excessive use of chemicals, pesticides that pollute the soils and pollute the water and river ecosystems as well. Now, again, I've got a video on this. I don't know if you want to translate that bit before I give the video, and that might set it into some context.
Sure. Ushbu slaydimizda biz sizlarga Oracle kompaniyasi bilan qishloq xo'jaligi sohasida amalga oshirilgan, ya'ni sun'iy aql yordamida amalga oshirilayotgan loyiha ko'rsatilgan. Hamma ma'lumki, qishloq xo'jaligida 20% dan 40% gacha bo'lgan mahsulotlar turli xil zarar-kunandalar va turli kasalliklar oqibatida nobud bo'lar ekan. Endi kelajakda shu narsa borki, 2 billion odamga oziq-ovqat mahsuloti yetishmasligi muammosi bo'lishi mumkin kelajakda. Bunini oldini olish maqsadida texnologiya va sun'iy aql, dronlar yordamida daladagi qayerda muammo bo'layotgan joyni aniqlash orqali yechim topildi. Masalan, rasmda ko'rsatilganidek, butun dalaga bir xil dorilarni sochgandan ko'ra, qandaydir ma'lum hududda muammo borligini aniqlab va qanday muammoligini aniqlab, shu yerni o'zini muammosini hal qilish orqali mahsulotning unumdorligiga erishilar ekan.
Okay, I'll play the video.
AgriScout is about early detection of disease and pests in field crops, which is a major problem for growers around the world. The 3 major crops that we grow in the world are wheat, corn, and rice, and they're all at the limit. Now we need to grow more and more. The only way that we can do that is reducing the loss. We use small robot drones to fly around the field autonomously, and all those images just go up into the Oracle cloud. We do the magic. Is using artificial intelligence. It's actually looking at those images like a person would, bringing that technology to every farmer so they can put out those chemicals on time. We looked at all the major providers, including the big one that we were using before. But Oracle has helped us with major technical issues with cloud native containers and DevOps to go from a static application to a dynamic microservice-based app that allows us to onboard customers globally daily. Before, it took us more than 24 hours to deploy every new version. And now it just takes minutes. The performance on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure has been several times in magnitude than what we had before. The users before had a challenge to even work with our software. Now we can just query thousands of images in a few seconds. Oracle Cloud is a simple, low-cost process and allows us to bring growers the best practice in agronomy, helping them defeat disease and pest, helping them grow more and provide food security for the world today and tomorrow.
So that was just an example, like I said, of one of our startup companies. And we have lots of sustainability examples from tiny, very, very small companies to larger companies as well. So do reach out to us if you would like to get any of those other stories that we have and any other ideas around sustainability. It's very much on my heart and something I get involved in a lot within Oracle. So I'm going to move us on now. And I'm going to start looking and thinking about creative thinking strategies. Now, there are numerous strategies out there. I mean, there's many, many books, many, many readings, many papers, and you probably have your own, actually, that works for you. And I always bear that in mind. And what I do with product managers that I've worked with, we tend to take a little bit of each. and depending on what we're thinking of doing, we'll try them all out. So there's no right and there's no wrong. But I'm going to share with you some of the more popular ones that you may have heard or you may see. So let's take a look at some of those strategies. Now, a very popular strategy, which is in the press more these days, if I'm honest with you, is called design thinking. Now, design thinking tends to involve lots of phases of iteration. So coming up with the ideas, the prototyping, the testing, then revisiting those previous considerations, the problem solving, and then finally implementation. Through this iterative process, ideation, prototype, testing, problems and the problems can be transformed really into opportunities. Now, this approach can be applied to physical products and services, but also to your own companies. So I'm going to take you through a story of design thinking.
Sizlar bilan hozir ijodiy fikrlash haqida gaplashdik. Endi ijodiy fikrlashning turli xil strategiyalari bor ekan. Bulardan birinchisi bu dizayn fikrlash. Dizayn fikrlash deganda bir g'oyani topib turib, uni qaytadan ko'rib chiqib, uni amalga oshirib ko'rib, tekshirib ko'rib, o'xshadimi yo'qmi, ya'ni prototiplab, ya'ni birinchi namoyishkorona ko'rinishini, keyin yana qaytadan uni agar o'xshamasa qaytadan yana tekshiriladigan bir aylanib takrorlanuvchi bosqichni ko'ramiz ekan bu dizayn fikrlashda.
So this funny thing here, I wonder if you can guess what it is. So I'm going to talk to you about a company called Omelette. Omelette looks after a range or creates a range of products for looking after pets and animals. So this company actually used the design thinking process to create their products and still do. So it all started in 2003 when 4 friends actually met in the Royal College of Art in London. And they were trying to find and think about a project. And one of the team members called James actually mentioned that he'd kept chickens before. And he had a wooden house for them, and his mum had suggested, please, can you update the design for this chicken coop because it's awful to clean, to look after, it's falling to bits, it smells, all those horrible things on chicken coop that were putting her off actually keeping chickens. So part of the exploration and experimentation phase, James got going. He produced the initial concepts, the sketches, and then made some prototype components to it. James knew that the space required for each primary element and kept working at the design, reiterating the design, and with the overall goal in mind to keep making it simpler to keep chickens in gardens. Through trials and then redesigns, James was able to reimagine a traditional chicken coop and developed its elements that would be readily accessed, able to be cleaned easily by his mum and serviced by his mum. And this picture is what he came up with. And actually, it looked rather like an igloo. And in a moment of genius, that would define the next generation of chicken keepers. And they named it the igloo. And this icon, the omelette igloo, was born. It was created based on human-centered design using design thinking principles. Now, nobody really likes dealing with chicken poo, chicken mess. And by designing their products to be quick, clean, well, easy to clean, Omelette actually created this unique space in the market where it can create homes that pets thrive in and people love using. So what they did was they reimagined the way people live and look after their chickens in a traditional way. From an exploitation, it's just the final part of design thinking, Omelette products are now available in Europe, the USA, Australia, and New Zealand, all from a group of students in 2003 coming together to experiment using design thinking principles. Okay, I don't know if you would like to translate that.
It's a very, very interesting story. Rasmda slaydimizda Omelette degan tashkilot korxonani mahsuloti, Igloo degan mahsulotini ko'rib turibmiz. Ushbu mahsulot qanday yaratilgan ekan? Ya'ni talabalar 2003-yili Qurolli kollejida tahsil oladigan o'zlarini loyihalarini tayyorlashlari kerak ekan. O'shanda bir talaba uyida taxtadan yasalgan tovuqlarni saqlaydigan kattagi haqida gapirgan va uni ishlatishni qanchalik qiyinligini, ya'ni uy hayvonlari boqadigan insonlar uchun ularni axlatlarini tozalash, qarash, ularga bular qiyin faoliyatligini aytib o'tilgan. Shu orqali ular do'stlar birgalikda yangi mahsulotni yaratishga harakat qilishgan. Ya'ni bu yerda ular ushbu mahsulotga oddiy biz odamlar o'rganib qolgan ko'rinishdan umuman boshqacha tomondan qarashga harakat qilishgan va hayvonlarga qarash qulay bo'lgan, ularni orqasidan tozalash oson bo'ladigan yechimni topishga erishilgan. Hozirgi kunda bu korxona o'zini mahsulotlarini, ya'ni bozorda yo'q bo'lgan mahsulotni yaratishgan birinchidan va insonlarni qiyinchiligini yengillashtiriladigan, ular o'rganib qolgan muhitdan ko'ra boshqacha osonroq yechimni bozorga olib kirishgan. Bu mahsulot hozirgi kunda Yevropa, Amerika, Angliya, Yangi Zelandiya va Avstraliya davlatlarida aholiga sotilmoqda. Keng foydalanib kelinmoqda.
Thank you. Okay, so the next strategy is probably one of my favorite strategies. It's called jobs to be done thinking, JBDT. I think, if I'm honest with you, I think it helps you to keep real about things and customer focused. It keeps a balance between logic and creativity. So in essence, what it does is it aims to focus in on what job a customer is really trying to do and what the real problem is. Now, I like this example here. So it's when I travel, I don't want a better way to plug the iron in my hotel room. What I really want is shirts that don't need ironing. And that is the idea of just taking things back to really understanding what that job that customer wants and what it is that they need doing. So it's very simple, but actually if you think it actually kind of gets you to that underlying real goal rather than getting too creative and creating something that actually is just another gadget that nobody really wants to use.
Keyingi strategiyamiz bu, ya'ni ishlar o'ylash bilan bajariladi degan strategiya ekan, fikrlash yo'nalishi ekan va bu yerda juda ham ajoyib misol keltirilyapti. Ya'ni sayohat qiluvchi odam uchun mehmonxonada qanday qilib kiyimini dazmollash emas, qanday qilib dazmollash kerak bo'lmagan kiyimlarni sotib olish ekan. Ya'ni bu yerda biz o'rganib qolgan fikrlash, ya'ni logika bilan va ijodiy fikrlashni o'rtasida mutanosiblikni topib, bozorga kerakli bo'lgan mahsulotni, ya'ni hamma ishlab chiqaradigan emas, ya'ni hech kim ishlab chiqarmagan, hali o'ylab topmagan mahsulotni bozorga yetkazishdan iborat ekan.
Okay. So in my next slide, and you may want to translate this before I go to the next slide, I've got a challenge for you. Okay, so you're going to have 20 seconds using your eyes to take yourself through a maze. I hope you all know what a maze is. It's kind of like a puzzle, and you've got to start at one entry point and you've got to find your way through to come out at the other side. So what I'd like you to do when we start it, you can have 20 seconds, and then using your eyes, I want you to map out the route through the maze. Okay?
Sizlarga keyingi slaydga o'tishimizdan oldin bitta kichik nimam bor, topshirig'im bor. Ya'ni 20 sekund davomida keyingi bosqichga o'tishdan oldin o'sha yo'lni ko'rib chiqasizlar yo'lini, yo'nalishni.
Okay. I think we've got a few seconds as it starts before it kicks off and the timer starts. So let's see.
Hammamiz tayyorlanamiz. Ya'ni faqat ko'zinglar yordamida boshidan oxiriga yetishinglar kerak.
Off we go.
Boshladik.
Have you done it? Are you all nearly there?
I'm finished.
Okay, so how many of you got this route? Put your hands up. How many of you got through to the end?
Kim shu yo'ldan o'tdi? Qo'lini ko'taringlar yo plus bosinglar.
Or how many did this? Disruptive thinking makes new rules or a new system. Okay, do you get the concept, the principle? So to think creatively, guys, is to change the way you look at something, to update one or more of your mental models that you already have. And this next section, we're going to take you through some more examples to help you with that.
Bu misolimiz sizlarga har birimiz ko'nikib qolgan yo'ldan ko'ra boshqa yo'llar ham borligini va buni ishlatib ko'rish kerakligini ko'rsatib turibdi.
Okay. So, Google. Well, challenging your assumptions. Now, questioning your current situation can open up paths to creative thinking. For instance, we all know Google. Now, Google's original aspiration was to build the best search engine ever. And arguably, they achieved that. But in order to enter a new era of growth, Google leaders needed to perceive their company differently. Only when they challenged their long-held assumption that we are a search engine company could they then come up with the helpful products for everyone. And this notion sparked projects such as Google Earth, Google Book Search, Google Labs, along with lots of other improvements to their actual search engine. So where are we going with this? Well, it's about challenging your assumptions. If you want to come up with fresh and exciting ideas, all you've got to do is challenge your thinking habits. So to get started, you could drill down on some of the most important mental models that you and your colleagues are currently using. You know, what are some of the key assumptions in your day-to-day activities? The established rules that you've already set within your own company, in your brand, and how you generally operate. What are some of your own personal beliefs about your company and what it makes to perform effectively at present? What's your competitive space? Are you sure? Are there ways it might be redefined? If you or your organization didn't exist, what difference would it make to the world? What would be missing? I don't know if you want to translate that.
Masalan, Google kompaniyasiga biz o'rganib qolganmiz. Google kompaniyasi biz uchun faqat qidiruv nimasini funksiyasini bajaradigan o'xshaydi, lekin uni orqasida juda ham ko'p mahsulotlar, juda ham ko'p yangi nimalar borligini, loyihalar borligini ko'rsa bo'ladi. Biz o'ylagan, o'rganib qolgan farazlarimizni boshqacharoq qilib ko'rishga harakat qilishimiz kerak ekan. Qayta ko'rib chiqish orqali. Ya'ni savol berishimiz kerak ekan. Masalan, bizning korxonamiz qayerda turibdi, nima faoliyat bilan shug'ullanadi va biz o'rganib qolgan kundalik hayotimizdagi va tashkilotimizdagi faoliyatimizda qilayotgan ishlarimizni boshqacharoq qilish haqida ham o'ylab ko'rishimiz kerak ekan. Ya'ni o'zimizni faraz qilib ko'rishimiz kerak ekan.
Now I'm going to take you through an example of this, just so you can see how it works, and so you'll be able to do this within your own companies. So let's take some assumptions. So restaurants, we all assume that restaurants have menus. But what if restaurants don't have menus? What if the chef tells his customers about his produce and his foods, and then the chef creates a personalized dish in collaboration with all of the diners? Another one, which is actually one from Oracle as well, but software, we think software has to be paid for. But what if software doesn't have to be paid for? And you might think here of some examples. So open source, the open source revolution came along where people didn't have to pay for software. And actually Oracle do this too. We have lots of free services and lots of free software for our customers. But ultimately people think you have to pay for software. And the third one, I wonder if you can guess which company this is from. The company pays for his or her car upon delivery. That's the assumption. You pay for it. When you get your car, you pay for your car. It's a lot of money to buy a car. But what if the buyer pays for his car fully before it's even produced? Do you know which company that's an example from? It's Tesla. Now, Tesla convinced their customers to make a substantial down payment on Tesla Model 3 without even providing the customers with a delivery date. So imagine that, paying for a Tesla car up front without even knowing when you're going to get it. Is it this year? Is it next year? And they managed to do that through an amazing marketing and branding push. And they're challenging people's assumptions. So this is a great exercise, actually. If you just write things down that you think, well, we do this, we do that, we do that. Well, what if you didn't? What could the reverse be of that? And then think creatively of what would that mean? And there's a little gap there for you to do something slightly different with how you're positioning your products or services or branding your products and services. It's quite a fun thing to do if you have got a small team or a team with you as well. It's quite good fun to get them writing down what they assume and then challenging those assumptions as well and see what you come up with. Okay.
Ushbu slaydda juda ham misollar keltirilgan, ya'ni biz faoliyatimizni, korxonamizni qanday yuritishga o'rganib qolganmiz, bir xil qandaydir qonunlarga rioya qilgan holda. Masalan, restoranlar oladigan bo'lsak, restoranlar bizga ovqatlarning menyusini taqdim etishadi va biz bu menyudan tanlab olamiz. Endi bizni teskari farazimiz. Agar restoranlar menyu bermasa-chi, u yerdagi asosiy povurlari bizga bizni xohishimizga asoslangan holda ovqat tayyorlasa, ya'ni biz borishimizdan oldin nimanidir xohlasak, uni aytsak, o'shanga qarab turib, menyu bermagan holda bizga moslashgan holda ovqat tayyorlasa. Bu misol, bu boshqacha teskari qarab ko'rish faraz. Yoki masalan, dasturlar haqida gapiradigan bo'lsak, ishlab chiqaradi va ularni sotadi. Va biz o'rganganmiz, biz sotib olgan, foydalanamiz. Agar dasturlar bepul bo'lsa-chi va biz ularga to'lashimiz shart bo'lmasa-chi, shunday farazni ham qilib ko'rishimiz mumkin. Va Oracle bu faoliyat bo'yicha ham ish olib boradi va bepul dasturlarni ham taqdim etadi. Endi yana bitta faraz, juda ham qiziqarli misol bu ham, ya'ni mahsulotga uni hali olmagan holda oldindan pul to'plash. O'ylab ko'ringlar, qaysi mashina ishlab chiqaruvchi korxona bundan foydalanishi mumkin. Ya'ni odamlar pul berib qo'yadi va mashinasini kutib turadi ishlab chiqarishini. Bu korxona hammaga mashhur bo'lgan Tesla mashinalari bo'lib, uni 3-modeldagi mashinalariga odamlar oldindan pul to'lar ekan. Va shunga qarab turib odamlarni talabiga qarab turib ular o'sha narsani ishlab chiqarib yetkazishar ekan va kutib turishar ekan. Bu boshqacha yondashuv. Sizlar ham o'zingizlarda shunday teskari farazlar bilan faoliyatingizni sinab ko'ringlar. Xizmat ko'rsatish yo'nalishida ishlaysizlar, mahsulot ishlab chiqarish yo'nalishida va yozib ko'ringlar ikkita tomonga. Sizlar o'rganib qonunga asoslangan holda qiladigan ishinglar va bunga teskari bo'lgan boshqacha yondashuvlarni yozib ko'rib, o'ylab ko'ringlar yaxshilab.
Okay, thank you. So my next one is following on from Tesla. We're going to talk a little bit about another one called First Principles Thinking. And you may have heard about this. Now, if not, you can buy the book because Elon Musk is one of the greatest advocates for first principle design. Now, he has used this to develop the electric cars, space rockets, and everything else that Elon is currently up to. But this is how he designs and thinks creatively about his products. Now, before the launch of Tesla, the market, if you remember, the market deemed that electric cars were actually not feasible, and they weren't feasible due to the high cost, the high price of batteries. But Elon was undeterred, and he used the principle of first principles thinking to take a really close look at the costs of battery materials. And then he became the biggest battery manufacturer in the world. He reduced the costs heavily. Now, how he did this was Musk actually challenged every single part of the innovation and build, and by going back to the first principles design. And what that means is he broke down the complicated process that we had of what a battery is. And he broke it down to all of the basic elements of what constituted the building of a battery, from every single part of the components to how it was manufactured, and then looked at how he could reassemble all of that back from ground up again, and at each stage reducing and looking at how he can minimize and reduce costs and make the process of design much more efficient. So this whole idea really is about what you've got, taking what you've got and breaking it back down to the ground, a bit like building blocks, Lego blocks, taking it all back to ground and then building each bit up again to see if there's new advances that you can take into consideration, if there's new materials you can take into consideration, if there's new ways to do a service. So rather than what you've had originally, go back, break it down and look at every single aspect of that product or service in your design process again, back to basics. Now, I'll let you translate here because I have got a quick video of Elon as well. So.
To'rtinchi strategiyamiz bu birinchi asoslarga asoslangan holda fikrlash. Ya'ni birinchi asoslangan holda fikrlashda biz mahsulotimizni, masalan, Elon Muskni mahsuloti, ya'ni elektr quvvatida ishlaydigan mashinalari misolda oladigan bo'lsak, bu juda ham qimmat mahsulot hisoblangan bozorda. Va Elon Muskni yondashuvi shundan iborat bo'lganki, asosiy qimmat bo'lgan qismi bu batareya bo'lgan, elektr batareyalar. Bu elektr batareyalarni Elon Musk qanday hal qilgan? Bitta katta muammoni u kichik bo'limlarga ajratgan va kichik bo'limlarini har bittasiga alohida yondashgan. Ya'ni elektr batareyalarni olib turib, uni qanday qilib ishlab chiqarishdan boshlab har bitta qismini muammolarini alohida hal qilgan holda oxirida bitta qilib yiqqan. Ya'ni buni Lego o'yinchog'iga misol qilib o'xshatadigan bo'lsak, buni noldan boshlab kichik qismlarni yig'ib chiqish bilan bir xil ekan. Siz o'zingiz sohangizda ham faoliyat bo'ladimi, bu xizmat ko'rsatish sohasi bo'ladimi, mahsulot bo'ladimi, qandaydir bir yechimni o'ylab topganingizda uni muammosini bo'limlarga, kichik asoslarga, ya'ni boshlang'ich qismiga olib kelgan holda uni qayta ko'rib chiqib ko'ringlar. Har bitta bo'limiga alohida javob topgan holda.
Okay, so I'm going to play the short video of Elon describing his battery process.
First principles is kind of a physics way of looking at the world. You boil things down to the most fundamental truths and say, okay, what are we sure is true? And then reason up from there. Somebody could say, in fact, people do, that battery packs are really expensive and that's just the way they'll always be because that's the way they've been in the past. No, that's pretty dumb. If you applied that reasoning to anything new, you wouldn't be able to ever get to that new thing. So first principles would be say, okay, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the spot market value of the material constituents? So you can say, okay, it's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, and some polymers for separation and a steel can. If we bought that in the London Metal Exchange, what would each of those things cost? Like, oh, it's like $80 per kilowatt hour. So clearly, you just need to think of clever ways to take those materials and combine them into the shape of a battery cell, and you can have batteries that are much, much cheaper than anyone realizes.
Can I translate what he said?
Of course, absolutely, yes.
Elon Muskni o'zini intervyusidan oladigan bo'lsak, u o'sha batareyani qanday qilib yasaganini aytib beryapti bu yerda. Ya'ni biz hammamiz o'rganib qolganmiz. Qandaydir tayyor mahsulotni shunday bo'lishi kerak degan. Lekin uni yondashuvi shundan iborat bo'lganki, batareyani ichki qismlarini ko'rib chiqqan. Ya'ni bu nimalardan tashkil topgan? Alyuminiy va shunga o'xshagan qandaydir bir moddalar. Ularni qismlar va bularni birga qo'shilgandagi ishi bu batareya deyilyapti va bu tayyor bozordagi mahsulot juda ham qimmat bo'lgan. Bu o'shani qismlarga bo'lib chiqib turib, o'zi qaytadan yasagan o'sha mahsulotni. Yasab, uni arzonlashtirish holatiga olib kelgan. Umuman boshqacha, boshqatdan noldan boshlab mahsulotga qarash orqali.
Thank you. So my final strategy that I'm going to share with you today is called perspective thinking. Now, here we need to think creatively about the future by using this perspective thinking to consider key trends and disruptions. Take an expansive, a long-term view, and be open to all possibilities, and be fully aware of what's happening both within and outside of your company or your immediate environment around you. There's mega trends, large social, there's economic, political, technical changes. All of these are likely to have a major impact across a wide range of areas. And they can be a very useful tool to spark new possibilities. Examples include the rise of alternative energy sources, the rapidly developing markets like Brazil and China, and the increasing mobile connectivity are all good examples. Now, megatrends will affect your company. They will affect your customers. They will affect your competition, as well as your family and community. So I've got a list of key things here on the slide that are some of those kind of innovation drivers that you should research and look into.
Endi keyingi strategiyamiz bu istiqbolli fikrlash ekan. Istiqbolli fikrlashda biz kelajakka biroz qarashimizga, atrofimizda muhit, nima o'zgarishlar bo'ladi, shularni ham hisobga olishimiz kerak bo'lar ekan. Masalan, bu yerda hisobga olinish kerak bo'lgan qismlarda yozib chiqilgan atrofimizda muhitdagi va biz o'zimizni korxonamizni faoliyatidan kelib chiqqan holda dunyoda bozorda nimalar bo'lyapti, qanday o'zgarishlar bo'lyapti, ularni ham qarab hisobga olib borishimiz kerak. Masalan, Xitoyda, Braziliyadagi nimalarni hisobga oladigan bo'lsak, rivojlanishlarni va barqarorlikka bo'lgan e'tiborlarni, shularni ham qarashimiz kerak, o'rganishimiz kerak. Endi hozir bu misollarni bittadan ko'rib chiqamiz.
So again, this is a what should you do with your businesses? Well, I would develop a list of issues that you believe will likely play out over a period of time, have a strong reaching impact, and could open a range of strategic responses for you. So I would refine your own lists with asking yourself which trends will be the key vectors for shaping my company's future. What are some of the seemingly irrelevant trends as well? I'll think of the irrelevant trends that could actually end up being surprisingly critical to you. Ponder on the ways that you could exploit these mega trends and create new opportunities, and try to stretch your thinking as well. Again, considering which of these trends your company would be least ready to deal with, which is an interesting way of looking at things. What if one of these trends actually did become a mega trend? Which one would you be least ready to deal with? Now, are there any trends as well in front of you that you know about, but actually you put aside and you haven't yet addressed because you don't think that these are relevant right now? So think about wide-reaching over a longer period of time, how some of these trends could play out. So that's just some food for thought for you, for your own businesses and companies.
Endi bu yerda trendlar ko'rsatilgan, ya'ni bizni korxonamizga ta'sir qilishi bo'lgan omillar, ushbu omillardan qaysi biri tashkilotimizga ko'proq ta'sir qiladi, qaysi biri kamroq ta'sir qiladi. Buni biz o'zimiz faoliyatimizdan kelib chiqqan holda topishimiz kerak bo'ladi va qaysi biri kelajakda ko'proq ta'sir qilishi mumkin va kelajakda kamroq qilishi mumkin. Shu kelajagini ham hisobga olib o'ylab chiqishimiz kerak bo'ladi.
Thank you. So that's it with the strategies. There are lots of strategies out there, and I'm sure, like I say, I usually have a mix of a few different strategies. If I've tried some things, I'll look at it from a different perspective, and you will find your favorites if you haven't already got your favorites. And in fact, if you do have your own strategies, it'd be great if you shared them with me as well. It'd be lovely to see what you actually use in your own creative thinking. Now, I was just going to end with my last 5 minutes on some templates, some tools that I use. Now, these are by no means, like I said, these are actually things that I've created and I use myself personally, but they're templates that you may like to use yourself or help you along the way. What I tend to do when I start off with my team and we do some kind of strategic thinking is we think about, we try not to be this blue sky thinking, we try not to be the big consulting companies of the world, we try to keep it really focused and relevant and relatable to what we're currently doing. So we try to formulate a strategy by thinking of all the different inputs that could go into the funnel, and we look at the competitors, we look at the technology trends, we listen to our customers. Social listening, guys, is key. It's key for ideas, to get some really creative ideas. And what are people saying? What are the influencers saying out there on the social sites? So keep a real ear and do a lot of social listening as well into your input. Of course, the market analysis, innovations that are happening, what's selling, what in your company is selling really well, or what do your customers really love and consume more of? Put all of those kind of inputs into the funnel. Then think about any constraints you may have in your organization. It may be the time, it may be your infrastructure, the budget, the funding that you have, the resources and skills you have available. So those are the constraints that need to go in there. And also there may be some strategic constraints. Does it fit your company vision? Does it fit the culture you want to have? So those are the kind of check and balance of things that you need to kind of really consider when you put all of those ideas together. Because if you're anything like me and the colleagues that I work with, we come up with hundreds of ideas, and actually that's all great, but really they're not all relevant because we haven't made them realistic to all of these different things that are happening. So keep it, well, I've put here, reject and be honest. We find that very difficult to do, is to reject those ideas and to be honest that actually that isn't going to work for our business because it doesn't meet all of these different kind of criteria. And then eventually you'll come out the funnel and you then have to do your check and balance to make sure it's going to add some value to your customers, right? There's no use coming out with this amazing thing, amazing gadget that actually none of your customer base is ever going to use. And then you also have to think about the cost. Is it really going to make economic sense for you to develop this service or this product? Then out of that product strategy, you must get the strategy first, then you can go ahead and build your plan.
Sizlarda strategiyalar haqida gaplashib o'tdik. Strategiyalarda sizlar xohlaganingizda o'zingizlarga qulay bo'lganini ishlatishingiz mumkin. Mahsulotlarni yaratishda bu yerda o'zlari korxonalarda qanday qilib foydalanishlari haqida, omillarni qanday qilib hisobga olishlari haqida aytib o'tdilar. Ya'ni bu yerda ular filtrdan o'tkazishar ekan. Eng muhim bo'lganlarni, ya'ni bular uchun eng muhim bo'lganlari, masalan, raqobatchilarni hisobga olish, texnologiya bo'yicha qanday yangiliklar bo'lyapti, shularni e'tiborga olishar ekan va albatta odamlarni fikriga, odamlarga qanday mahsulotlar kerak, shuni eshitishga ham yaxshi e'tibor berishar ekan. Ya'ni mijozlarni o'rganishga. Bu yerda biz filtrdan o'tkazayotganimizda qilmoqchi bo'lgan faoliyatimizdagi ishlarni cheklovlarga ham e'tibor berishimiz kerak. Ya'ni bizda mablag'imiz qanchalik, bizni resurslarimiz qanaqa, mutaxassislarimiz kuchi yetadimi, qancha vaqt ketadi, bizni tuzilmamiz bunga amalga oshirishga qodirmi va osmondagi, bulutdagi narsalarni emas, yaqinroq haqiqatdagi bor narsalar hisobga olishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Undan tashqari korxonamizni strategiyasi, hozirgi mahsulotini ishlab chiqarilayotgan ko'rsatkichlari, savdolar qanday ketyapti va odamlarda muhitni ta'siri qanaqa, bularni hammasini hisobga olib, yakunida, oxirida biz qanday qilib qiymat yaratyapmiz. Ya'ni odamlarga kerakli bo'lgan, ularni ishlatishiga kerak bo'lgan mahsulotlarni yaratyapmiz. Ya'ni biz zo'r mahsulot yaratishimiz mumkin o'zimizni fikrimiz bo'yicha, lekin bu yaxshi, zo'r deb o'ylagan mahsulotimiz odamlarga kerak bo'lmasligi mumkin. Shunga ham e'tibor berish kerak. Ya'ni insonlarga qiymatga ega bo'lgan mahsulot chiqarishimiz kerak. Va albatta ushbu chiqarayotgan mahsulotimizni narxiga ham e'tibor berishimiz kerak. Narx jihatdan bu o'zini oqlaydimi, yo'qmi? Shundan so'nggina bu hamma filtrlardan o'tkazganimizdan keyin, cheklovlardan hammasini tekshirib o'tganimizdan keyin mahsulotni yaratish rejasiga o'tamiz ekan oxirida.
Okay, and I'll just quickly now at the top of the hour, I'll just quickly go through a couple of the other, and like I said, these are just kind of templates that I use, and it helps me to kind of make sure that I can put my products in the right part of the grid. And it's just a nice visual to say, okay, well, put my product here, it's low risk, low returns, and map out your products or your services or what you're trying to achieve to make sure that your ideas are going to fit the market. There's one very similar to that, which is actually then really about whether it's against the competitors, whether it's a visionary product, whether actually you just wanting to optimize a product or a service that you've currently got, where you sit in the market share. And it's a case of putting these red dots against your product or service names into the different quarters, and it'll help you just kind of see where you play really well and where to focus your time, or in fact, you know, again, which were the visionary products you really want to move forward. And then my final one looks really simple, but actually coming from product management, we tend to get really quite lost in big product roadmaps and putting features and functions and everything else out there, and they can get really quite complex, and there's no need. So really keep it really simple for you and people you work with to just say, right, well, this is what's happening now, and put in the now bit, this is what we're working on, and the next things we're going to work on will be here, and we'll think about these things later, and that's our future later. And something as simple as that can give you a nice clear roadmap of what you're going to do today and what you're going to be doing tomorrow. And with that, actually, I just want to say thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the hour, and it was lovely to talk to you and meet you all, and I can't wait to kind of hear your stories going forward as well. So thank you very much. That's all from me. Thank you.
Slaydlarimizda shu narsa ko'rsatilganki, ya'ni bizni mahsulotimiz bozorga qanday mos keladi, qayerda turibdi bozorga moslashish nuqtasida. Bizda esa mahsulotimizni can I see the slides?
Oh yes, sorry. Sorry. Let me go back. Beg your pardon. Let me go back to. Tell me which ones you want to. Sorry.
Product market fit. Yes, this one.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry, it's going quickly. There we go.
Yeah, this one. Keyin bizni mahsulotimiz bozorda qayerda turibdi? Ya'ni odamlarga yuqori nimaga kerak bo'lgan nuqtada turibdimi yoki kamroq qiymatga ega bo'lgan, shu jadvalga qo'ygan holda mahsulotimizni bozordagi o'rnini ko'rib olar ekansizlar. Va oxirgi, the next slide please. Oxirgi slaydimiz, biz qiladigan ishlarimiz ko'pga o'xshaydi, qiyinga o'xshaydi, lekin biz faoliyatimizni bosqichlarga bo'lish orqali hozir nima qilaman, keyin nima qilaman va undan so'ng esa nima qilaman deb bosqichlar bo'lib olib, ushbu parametrlarga joylashtirish orqali muvaffaqiyatli amalga oshirishimiz mumkin ekan. Bugungi darsimiz shu bilan tugatamiz. Sizlarga rahmat hammaga eshitganinglar uchun. Slaydimiz tugadi.
Tanya, thank you so much. So many tools and different examples that you've shared. We have a lot to think about. If we have like 5 minutes for questions, we had a question in the chat box regarding at the time when you shared that when Oracle created a tool for farmers on agriculture. So there was a question at that time, if we can answer it now. So as those sensors, are they installed on the ground, or are you using images and like, I don't know, data from satellites to identify problem in agriculture?
It is images. It's taking images and using our kind of imagery software then to analyze those images. So the drones actually capture images when they are flying over the ground. What I will do as well is I can send you some links to the stories if you'd like to get more detail, because they're all on our on the internet, on our web. So I'll send you some links across, and then if you guys want to go through any, and if you're interested in finding out more or want to reach out, please do reach out to me with my name. It's just tania.levoi@oracle.com, and I'd be very happy to discuss stuff with you and take things offline too.
Can I translate? Переводить? Savol bo'ldi, ya'ni qishloq xo'jaligi mahsulotlari haqida, ya'ni sun'iy aql yordamida ularni tekshirish orqali faqat yerni ham tekshirishadimi yoki tepadan rasm olish bo'lgan orqali aniqlashadimi degan savolga faqat dronlar orqali tepadan rasmga olish orqali aniqlanadi deb javob berdilar. Agar boshqa savollaringlar ham bo'lsa, masalan, bundan keyin darsdan keyin ham o'sha har xil yo'nalishlar bo'yicha savol bo'lsa, bemalol muloqotga chiqishinglar mumkin va savolinglar so'rasanglar bo'ladi. Hozir ham maydon nimamiz ochiq savollarga. Kimda qanaqa savollar bor, so'rashinglar mumkin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So interesting. So interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Savollar bormi?
Только слова благодарности.
Always thanks.
Are there any other questions?
Assalomu alaykum. Assalomu alaykum Borno opa. Siz translate qilasiz, a?
Aytavering.
Bizlarniki agro sohasiga yaqin bo'lgani uchun savolim quyidagicha edi. Bizlarda hozirda gidroponika bo'yicha texnologiyani yaratishda aqlli, ya'ni teplitsadan ham foydalanishga qaror qilganmiz va savolda buni ekologiya bo'yicha qanday taraflarga e'tibor bersak yaxshiroq bo'ladi? Qaysi taraflarga?
They are the agro firm and they are going they produce hydroponics. Is it in hydroponics, Elena? Hydroponic, yeah. They produce hydroponics, and they are planning to adopt another как будет теплица?
Greenhouse.
Greenhouses, yeah. They wanted to adopt greenhouses technology, but they wonder, does it fit with ecological side, sustainability? Adopting greenhouse to hydroponic production.
Oh, sorry, I didn't quite get the question. Sorry, I'm so.
Did I translate it right? I hope. They produce hydroponics. They are producers of hydroponics. Yeah, which hydroponic it's like keeps water. Yeah, воду держит, да, гидропоника.
I think we need to clarify with Gulbanu. Gulbanu, siz savolingiz nimada? Hozir tushunmayapmiz. Mana masalan tushunmadim. Savolingiz, mana siz gidroponika nimasini ishlatmoqchisiz, nimani qo'shyapsiz, ha? Teplitsani aytyapsiz, ha?
Teplitsada ekologiya bo'yicha qaysi taraflarga e'tibor berishimiz kerak? Imani точкасini.
Ekologiyaga qaysi taraflarni nima в смысле вот техnologiya tarafdanmi yo savol nimada?
Texnologiya. Masalan, ekologiya bo'lganda teplitsani ichini ko'rishimiz mumkin. Bunda gidroponika unga zarar, ekologiya qaysi taraflarda masalan zarar bergani, foyda tarafi bo'lishi mumkin, zarar tarafi bo'lishi mumkin. Sizni Taynani fikrini so'ramoqchi edimda.
In terms of как design thinking влияет на продукцию вот этих экологических sustainable products, she means, I think. Gidroponika bilan bog'liqligi bormi bu yerda teplitsani?
Bor. Ichida bo'ladi texnologiyasi.
Gidroponika teplitsa qo'shilgan holda qanday qilib ekologiyaga zarar yetkazadi?
Texnologiya.
Nima ishlab chiqarish, mahsulot ishlab chiqarish qishloq xo'jaligi. Yeah, the question is about using greenhouses and gidroponics, how to produce sustainable products, agriculture, not to affecting the ecology.
How to grow them?
How to grow them, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to be a little bit out of my reach, to be honest with you.
Using design thinking, I think, differently.
Yeah, I mean, with the design thinking, I mean, that is process of kind of starting, reiterating, prototyping, testing, changing, and so it's just a continuous, evolving loop of trying to experiment different things. And that was the example of what Omelette gave, of how they kind of kept thinking, changing, and it's an evolution kind of thing of defining something and designing something. It never actually kind of necessarily stops. That is one way of doing something, and so it's testing and prototyping and building. Is that what you mean? So I can help you on the strategies, but I don't know anything about growing myself. I can find out. If there's anything, I don't know the lady's name. If there's anything, if she wants to email me, we could try and support her, help her with some pointers.
Aytib o'tilgan strategiyalardan foydalanib ko'rishingiz mumkin ekan. Masalan, qayta tekshirib ko'rib, mana prototipda ishlab chiqarasiz mahsulotingizni, uni qayta ko'rib chiqib, even she can use the Elon Musk's method, first
first principles. Those are everything I've shown today, apart from the templates at the end. Everything else are things that are on the internet. They are known creative thinking theories and strategies. So if you Googled anything on first principle thinking, if you Googled anything on design thinking, you will find lots of free resources on those strategies, and also free training courses are aware as well on those type of strategies. So everything I've shared are things I've used currently today around trying to think creatively.
Mana Elon Musk'ni mahsulotni qaytadan ko'rib chiqish metodini ham aytib o'tgandilar. Shunga o'xshagan turli xil dizayn fikrlashni metodlarini qo'llagan holda muammoingizni boshqatdan ko'rib chiqishingiz mumkin. Masalan, siz havoga ta'sir qilayotgan qismini yo'qotaman desangiz, o'sha qaysi qism sizni o'shanga ta'sir qilyapti, zararli mahsulot ishlab chiqaradi va o'sha qismni qanday qilib o'zgartirishingiz mumkin. Shunga o'xshash har xil metodlarni internetdan o'qib, topib, dizayn fikrlashda qaysi bir strategiyasi ko'proq o'sha sizni muammoingizni hal qilishi mumkinligini, ungacha boshqacha yondashish mumkin bo'lgan yo'liga olib keladigan joyini topib, o'rganib qilsangiz bo'ladi, harakat qilib ko'rsangiz. Va xohlasangiz savollaringizni yana alohida jo'natishingiz ham mumkin o'zlariga. Lekin bu o'sha qishloq xo'jalik bo'yicha bilim talab etadi bu yerda va muammoingizga boshqacha yondashuv. Va boshqacha yondashuvni qaysi bugungi darsda aytib o'tilgan strategiyalardan qaysi biridan foydalangan holda siz muammoingizni hal qilishingiz.
Thank you. Tanya, is it okay if we will share your presentation, I mean the slides with the group?
Absolutely. What I might do is send you another edition of them. I didn't have chance, and put some links in the slides to kind of where they can get more information on the videos, where they can play them, and where they can get more information on the different areas. So if you can bear with me today, I'll add some more links, and then I'll send that across to you.
Thank you. And if there are no more questions, we can do like a final photo while with the cameras on. Можете, пожалуйста, кто может включить камеру, мы сделаем, я сделаю финальное фото, и мы на сегодня завершим.
Hammamiz kameramizni yoqsak, oxirgi rasmni olamiz.
So I'm taking the photos. Я делаю фото. Thank you. Just a moment.
And if I can ask just a very last question, if it's possible, just because the topic is like very interesting to me personally. Tania, so based on your presentation and all the concepts you have shared today, so can we call like sustainability principle that are used by businesses as a resource saving principle, or it's more kind of positioning and marketing by the companies, like big companies, tech companies, because the topic is so important in the world today?
I think you're right. I think sustainability is more than that now. It is a huge topic in the world. I think it's got, it's about the creative side of things. It is about branding and marketing, but it's also about organizations knowing that they have to meet regulations. It is something that they can do, obviously, to reduce. It is profitable as well. They can make profit out of the purpose, you know, so it is very profitable. I think sustainability now encompasses everything. It is not just a tick in the box. There you go, you know, we can talk about sustainability because it's good for the company. I think it's really it is center stage in the world, and a lot of our large customers and our small, medium businesses and startups as well, everything they do has a connection to sustainability. They are all putting that on their priority list for 2022 as well. You will see some of the biggest banks, as I'm with HSBC the other day, and one of their 2022 #1 things they needed to focus on was sustainability. So I think it's for ethical reasons. I think it's for, yes, it's great for a business, for branding, and to get their name out there, but it helps to reduce costs. It's something they have to do because of regulations. And so I think it covers all aspects, not just, it's not just one thing that was a nice to have or a nice to be seen to be doing, which we could have said was the case a few years ago. I think it's exceptionally important with all organizations, all sizes now. And also there's lots more government reporting coming out as requirements that companies and countries have to report against, and I think that is becoming something that everybody knows they have to do. It's not a nice to have. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Very much. Yeah, thank you very much. It was like very interesting to know your position as a person representing, you know, one of the biggest companies. Since in Uzbekistan we are opening up, we are a developing country, but at the same time we need to develop our businesses, so the investments are coming to the country. And I see personally that we need to have this due diligence, as you said, like meet the regulations, etc. But at the same time we need to understand that as a developing country, developing businesses, we have to be cost efficient. Yes. So just was interesting to know your position, that it could be both within one concept of sustainability or green economy.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is both. It's profit and purpose, without doubt. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Barno, if you could just briefly translate.
Faoliyatida barqarorlikda o'rni haqida so'radilar. Ya'ni korxona faqatgina davlat qonunlariga, masalan, yaxshi ekologiyaga, atrof muhitga zarar yetkazmasdan mahsulot ishlab chiqarish bu qonunga asosan emas, korxonani o'zi ham bu narsani tushunish kerak, bu narsaga e'tibor berish kerak va bu mahsulotini, biznesini yuritayotganda dunyo bo'yicha hamma korxonalar hozir shunga e'tibor beryapti. Ya'ni barqarorlikka, shu atrofga zarar keltirmagan holda foyda olishga. O'zbekiston ham jahon miqyosida ko'pgina rivojlanayotgan davlatlar qatorida, ya'ni bu yerda ham bizneslar yangi rivojlanib boryapti. Bu bizneslarda faoliyat olib borishida barqarorlik qonunlariga faqatgina qonunda yozilgani uchungina emas, ya'ni o'zlarini faoliyatida ham foyda kelishi mumkinligini hisobga olgan holda shu narsaga e'tibor berishlari kerak ekan. Ya'ni bu narsa mablag' jihatdan ham foydali bo'ladi degan fikrni aytdilar.
Just to finish on sustainability, we have a lovely webinar on sustainability which is, it's not Oracle, it's a generic business, kind of technology business webinar that we have run for Earth Day. And I will send the link in the presentation for you guys to watch. I hope you enjoy it. And that will actually give you lots of insight. And we've trained over 1,000 people on sustainability practices, principles, the importance of it within Oracle now, within the program that I've been running with one of my colleagues. And so I will send a couple of links in the slide deck, and I hope you enjoy the webinars that you can watch on replay.
Sizlar bilan yana barqarorlik bo'yicha vebinarda videosini jo'nataman, linkini jo'nataman. U yerda biz texnologik bizneslar bo'yicha va barqarorlik haqida o'tilgan, seminar o'tilgan va bundan sizlar foydalanib, o'zingizlarga kerakli jihatlarini olasizlar degan umiddaman.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for your time today, for the knowledge that you shared. Karina, thank you for organization. Barno, thank you for translation. Спасибо всем участникам. See you on our next workshop. We have next workshop next Tuesday. Следующий наш семинар во вторник, тоже в это время. Мы пришлем подробную информацию. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great start of the year. Спасибо.
Thank you. Bye.
Hammaga rahmat. Yaxshi namoylar. Keyingi seshanbada ko'rishguncha.
Rahmat.